Hi everybody, it's Jennifer. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you some samples that I did using Spellbinders Glimmer hot foiling plates. And so with that, let's go ahead and get started. I've actually done another video when I did an unboxing of this machine, so I will link that below. I do a quick demonstration later on in the video, but just to kind of show you here, if you don't have this system, I purchased it and I had gotten a really good deal at Hobby Lobby. was able to use one of the coupons, but it comes with really everything you need to get started. It comes with a sample foiling plate, it comes with some foils, and you just need some cardstock. But the point of this video is I really wanted to try some other plates, and so I'm going to go through here some additional plates that I had picked up that I thought were pretty cool. And the first one here is called Happy Camper, and I thought it'd be cool because I actually have a series coming up that's going to be going over some cards focusing on camping. With summer months, I thought this would be pretty cool. I have some teal foil and I want to use that. The first time I tried it, it did not come out so good on the little camper portion of it. Maybe a little bit hard to see, but you can see some of it adhered to the cardstock, other portions of it not so much. It did really good with the sediment part of it, and what I like about these plates is it does create an impression in the card, so it really creates a nice finished look. I did a second one, and what I did is I added a shim into it. And when I put it through the machine with the shim, it really gave a solid layer of foil. It's perfect. It was absolutely perfect. So sometimes you'll need to use that when plates may vary between machines when you're putting it through. So keep that in mind. You may also see that you have some foil that's carried over outside of the image. If that happens, then you will want to have one of these wonderful sand erasers. They work wonders. You just rub them lightly and the foil comes off. Voila, piece of cake. Okay, for this next one, it is just a simple sediment, you got this. I thought what might be cool is I had a card I had put together for a previous video, and I wanted to add the sediment onto it. It was very intentional that I put it on overlapping the image. What was not intentional is that I didn't use a shim, which I talked about in the last one. And so when I put it on here, the foil did not adhere to everything. So it's really important that when you're using thinner cardstock, and what I mean by thinner is I'm going to say get to know your machine when you're running it through. And I use a Sizzix, and the machine is probably really designed to go through with a Spellbinder die cutting machine, but the Sizzix works just fine. But what I should have used with this is probably, this card was an 80-pound cardstock. I really needed to use a shim, at least one, if not two, to make this work. So it was warm enough. All of the machine was working itself. That was not a problem. This isn't a case of, oh, you need to run it back and forth multiple times. Nope, it wasn't any of that. This was simply there was not enough pressure as it went through. It needed one or two shims, just depending on the thickness of your shim. So that is my advice on this card. There's a couple things I could probably do to clean it up, but there we go. So moving on to the next card. This one was probably my favorite. It was a pretty simple saying. It's be awesome today. I wound up doing it with a copper foil, which is what came with the machine. And what I liked about it is I chose a design that I had worked on in a previous video. It was a stencil that I had used, and I used cosmic shimmer that I had pushed through the stencil. And so I was curious to see, it had a little bit of dimension to it, not a whole lot, but a little bit. I wanted to see how it reacted with the foil. And so, I put it through, and it actually did a really fantastic job. So this next one came with 3 heart flourishes. I just used the one here at the bottom. It's kind of the medium size. And I went for a sort of tone on tone. I used a teal colored cardstock, and I had the teal colored foil. And I really thought it turned out quite lovely. And it may be difficult to see on camera, but again, it does do this sort of impression in the card. So while you have this tone on tone look, you also have this indentation. And so I thought it'd be really lovely. You could add more foil at the top and put a saying around it. You could add this with an image on it. So there's a lot of things I think you could do with this card, and you could have put it even down further on the card than what I did. I really just put it in the center. So I really like this one. So this next one is called Fancy Corners. And what is pretty cool about this, you'll see it comes with 4 corners. And I think this one offers a lot of versatility to it on how you could set it up. And I wound up doing just a version of it. Again, I go for this kind of tone on tone look. I use a raspberry or cranberry cardstock with a similar color foil that I have, and I put them together. And I think this could be used in the way that I did it as a background, but you certainly could use it where you maybe just used a couple of the corners, or you put them in the corner of a card, or you do this, square or diamond. I think there's just so many different ways that you could use this one here. And I'll show you here in a second how I did it. And here is the foil that I use. So it's this, pretty pink color, and you can see the tone on tone. So you could put like a sediment in the center. You could put, a lot of different things. So this was just one way that you could use this card. So again, a lot of versatility with this one. So this is the last one that I'm going to show you what I did with it, and then I am going to do a quick demonstration of how to use the machine. And again, I'll link my first unboxing below so you can see, a little bit more if you want to. And then stay tuned at the end. I'm going to go ahead and show you. I have some other things that I want to do with this machine, so stay tuned for that, more to come. What makes this kit unique is there's a lot of pieces to it. So this is a flower set, and it not only has a lot of pieces so you can build onto it. You'll see it's designed to layer, but you can also cut them out. And so I just want to point out that the machine does not cut. So you first foil and then you cut. And so I want to be really clear about that. But so you see kind of the finished product here. I don't know that I chose the best cardstock color. I chose this orange color. So some of the foil I used like a pink on here. It did not turn out that good on the orange. I will tell you that kind of prism color turned out really good on it, which I thought was pretty cool, and so did the teal. But I don't know that I chose the best colors for the flowers. And so what you do, and I'll show you here in a minute, is you go ahead and you put all the flowers on your machine, you get them heated up, you cut out the foil around it. You would do what you normally do. And the cool thing is you could choose different cardstock. In this case, I chose one color cardstock so I could do it all at one time. You put them on. I chose different foils so you can see that. That's the other cool thing is, you know, as you're doing that. And okay, so I'm just going to say this. You can see my machine is off. And so when I touch that, just know my machine was off. You can touch it. You're not going to burn yourself. But if it was on, you don't want to be holding your hands over that. So basically what happens is when it's done, you want to put your die over that area, put a little, you know, tape down, not over your foil, and then run it through your die cutting machine. So whatever you use at that point, if it's a Gemini, if it's a Sizzix or Spellbinders, whatever you use to cut your dies, you want to run it through and it cuts it out, and then you can layer them. So I've already started warming up my machine. I will say this too, I've joined the month of the club for Spellbinders for the Glimmer kit. And so you will see other future videos from me on plates. And so I'm going to ask if you are interested in seeing those, make sure you hit the alert button, the little bell, and subscribe so you'll be notified when those videos come out. So you can see that the power button is on, my green light is on, that second light saying, hey, it's warm, come play with me, right? So I'm ready to go. And I have my little Sizzix next to me. Again, the only machines like you've got to have something that's thick enough to put that plate through. So something like a Gemini, which I have that, it will not go through that. It's not thick enough. So you need like a Sizzix or the Spellbinders, which is really, I think, you know, what they're hoping that you'll use. So you put your plate down and you put your foil on it. And so one trick that has worked for me that I saw somebody do, and I don't know who it was, otherwise I would give them credit, but I saw them use some copy paper that they cut out in the size of an A2 card. And the reason for that was because when you go to put your card down, it makes it easier to know how to place that plate in your card. And so that's what you see me do there, is just copy paper. So it's very thin. It will not impact the ability of the machine to transfer the foil onto your card. What you saw me there, I was doing was cutting out the foil to go around the size of the plate. You want to make sure you get it pretty close. You don't want a lot of extra foil laying around, otherwise you'll get it on your card. And while if you get a little bit on your card, you can use that sand eraser. It does get it off. It's magical. But you don't want too much. You don't want a whole bunch of erasing. So just kind of trim around. You will also see me cut the corners. It lays better if you have the corners cut. And if you have a plate that is not symmetrical and you want to make sure you cut it right, the right way. So this is one of those cases where it does not look the same on both sides. You want to make sure that when you lay that plate down and you lay the foil on top of it, that you have cut it so the foil lays appropriately. Okay, how do I know that? Because I did it wrong the first time. So I'm going to save you that. Most of the, like the flowers and a lot of the dies, it doesn't matter. They look the same. But this die, the flourish, it is not the same. So I had to recut it. I'm just sharing that piece of information with you. You're going to see what I mean in just a second here. So you go ahead and position your plate wherever you want it. And you can see the benefit of having that copy paper down. If you need to move it around, honestly, you could probably touch it. It's not super hot, but you can use something else to push it around, or you can use those little tweezers that it comes with. So you can see what I mean, how one side is larger than the other. You want to make sure that when you're laying the foil down, that the shiny side is facing down towards the die. So you make your sandwich and you press the button. You saw me hit that button and it's blinking there. When that is done blinking, then you're going to push it through, and you want to move it slow through there. You will push it forward once and then backward once. You don't want to keep pushing it back and forth for a couple of reasons. One, it doesn't need it. If you have it where your cardstock is thick enough, again, this goes back to if you use like 110-pound cardstock, and in this case I am with what I'm putting through here, this piece of paper is a thicker one, so I didn't put a shim. But if it wasn't, you're using something like an 80-pound, I would have used a shim. You just run it through once, slow, pull it back through slow, you'll be fine. So let's take a look and see how this one turned out. You can see by having that piece of paper there, it didn't impact how the foil adhered to the card. And I put it a little bit closer down to the bottom and it helped with alignment. So let's take a look in the future videos I want to look at. I have some things that I picked up from Crafter's Companion. And while it is not Spellbinders, I'm curious to try out, and I'll let you know how it goes. I'll film a video to see, do these work with the Spellbinders hot foiling system? So I'm going to try those out in a future video. I like it because they have quite a few different sayings, and so I'm interested in expanding my capabilities of adding these to cards. And I've ordered some additional foils, so look out for future videos. Hit the subscribe button. Let me know what you think. Put comments below. And I appreciate you joining tonight or this morning, depending on when you're watching this. Have a great day.